Hello everyone and welcome back to All Things Watched. It has been a minute since I've uploaded a review or a breakdown or anything whatsoever really, but my personal life has been crazy, but I'm very close now to getting back to just having regular uploads, hopefully at least one video a day, but anyways, this is the start of me hopefully coming back regularly, and in this video we're going to be talking about the brand new movie Mickey 17. Now this movie mainly stars Robert Pattinson, who of course portrays the character as Mickey, Naomi Aki, who portrays a character known as Nasha, who's basically Mickey's love interest without being too much of a spoiler or anything like that. Holiday Granger, Amanda Bartolome, I apologize if I'm butchering that name, Stephen Young, of course, Mark Ruffalo, and Toni Collette, and a bunch of other great actors and actresses as well, but those are the main cast. So for me, I was really excited to go into this movie for two reasons. Robert Pattinson and him and the genre of the movie being this sci-fi sort of futuristic advanced civilization, so to speak, with advanced technologies and all that cool stuff. So I'm a huge sci-fi nut. Anyone who's been following me for any time knows that sci-fi is my forte. That's where I spend most of my time watching stuff, science fiction. I love stuff like Silo. I love, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I love Severance. I love all these awesome cool sci-fi stuff, and that's just, obviously there's hundreds of more better ones, but you get what I'm saying. Matrix, I love all the, sci-fi is where I love to spend most of my time. So I was really excited to going into this movie, and of course this movie really deals with advanced technologies such as cloning. Like I said, this is a spoiler-free review. I will talk about some things that you might not know, but I won't actually ruin the movie for you. But I probably will do a spoiler review eventually and a breakdown, maybe once it comes out digitally anyways. So the idea is that the story follows Mickey Barnes, who is now the 17th version, or the 17th clone, so to speak, of Mickey, and of course Mickey is portrayed by Robert Pattinson. Now for the first half of this movie, I felt like it was a completely different movie from the second half, and I really wish they had to focus more on the stuff that happens in the first half as opposed to sort of transitioning into more of like an alien type movie for the second half. So if you didn't know that, I guess that's a minor spoiler, but this movie really is about aliens more so than anything. But for the first half of the movie, Mickey 17, Mickey basically signs up, like I said, this is not a huge spoiler, he signs up to become what is known as an expendable, meaning that he signs over his life, his soul, so to speak, his consciousness, for the sake of trying to advance science. And so they put him through a bunch of different trials and tribulations, oftentimes which causes him to die, but then they basically reprint his consciousness and reprint his body, and then integrate his consciousness into this printed body, and that's essentially what what the first half of the story is. And I really wish that they had have just stayed there, and I kind of wish that that was the whole premise. I wish that maybe they just kept putting him through trials to the point where maybe he just kind of gets fed up with it. Maybe he would start to print his own bodies and sort of create like his own like little Mickey army, so to speak, to rebel against this system, because after so many times dying over and over and over, it has to take a toll on your consciousness, because it's still the same consciousness, so to speak, into each of these new bodies. Now I wish that that was the movie that we got, but it wasn't. They sort of introduce you to that idea of him going through these things, dying, and then being reprinted, but then they just take this really big pivot for the second half of the movie, and it becomes more about this alien thing and about basically these humans trying to recolonize this planet that's covered in aliens, and that's essentially the second half of the movie. Now I won't go into any more detail about that, but that is, without going too heavy into the spoilers, that's essentially what the movie is about. So I was very disappointed with the second half of the movie, because I loved the first half of the movie so much that I was like as we were going through Act 1, and even, I would say a majority of Act 2, or at least half of Act 2, the second half of the act of the movie, I was blown away Patterson's performance was phenomenal. Ruffalo's performance, and Stephen Young's not in this movie as much as I thought he would be, even though he's sort of marketed as if he's going to be this really big main player. But Naomi Ackie is in this movie quite a bit, and she was phenomenal. Honestly, I think there were some points where her and Patterson just completely steals the show. Like, I feel like Naomi and Patterson just does such a great job that I feel like almost everybody else in the movie was almost secondary to them, which kind of makes sense because Patterson is the main actor, so he would have to have the best performance, make it the most believable. He's portraying Mickey, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they just did such a great job that even when we meet Ruffalo's character, they just really don't, to me, it felt like they didn't live up to Patterson's standards, or even Naomi's. I think she was phenomenal as well. There was the other actor who I believe was Anna Maria Bartolome. I apologize if I'm butchering that name. She did a great job as well, actually. I really liked her performance. Stephen Young, I feel like, was really underutilized in this movie. I feel like they tried to make him this really cool character, really make you fall for him and just be in love with this character and sort of get behind him. But I just you never really could get behind him, and I don't mean fall in love with him as in because he's a good guy. I just mean I feel like they're trying to make him be bigger than what he was, really. It's almost like they try to make him be this big important character, but really he wasn't. And honestly, I thought he had one of the his characters was one of the worst written. Same as Ruffalo. I feel like Ruffalo's character was almost too silly. Like, he was very silly in this somewhat, relatively serious tone of a movie. They're trying to, make mankind or humankind, civilization thrive and succeed. And here you had this guy who's just like really jokey, and he's really, to me, it felt like he's not taking the whole situation really all that serious, but he's sort of like the head of the company. And I just thought that was really wacky, and it really, for me, felt like it was not in the same tone as what the movie was trying to be. So because of this, oftentimes whenever Ruffalo and his character or his spouse and that character was on screen, I really felt like it was almost too jokey, and oftentimes really took me out of the movie, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, if I was to put a number on Mickey 17 and I was to rate the movie, if I were only to base it on the first half of the movie, honestly, I would say this movie was phenomenal. Like 7.5 or maybe even 8, out of 10, that's usually how I do it. And all these things are subjective for the first half. But because the show pivots and becomes this completely different movie in the second half, I really did not like the direction of the movie. And because of this, it really makes me want to bring my rating down significantly from maybe a 7.5 to an 8, to the point where I'm almost like, I almost don't even like the movie because of the second half. So I would have to give this one a 5.5 because I did enjoy it more than what I didn't, or maybe even a 6 because of how good the first half was. But after the first half, and they sort of go into this sort of alien type movie, once they go that route, to me, I thought it really damaged the movie. Like I said, these things are subjective. Maybe you've seen this movie and loved it, and I hope you did. I loved the first half, and honestly, right up, until they sort of pivot towards that second story, I found myself loving this show. I was like, man, this might be my favorite science fiction show of the whole year, but like I said, once they went that direction, I was like, no, I don't like this. Even though there were parts of the story, even in the first half, that I really wasn't, completely on board with, I did like it enough where I was very invested for the first half. So for me, I would have to give this one, like I said, a 5.5 or maybe a 6 out of 10. Unfortunately, I'm a huge fan of Patterson. I'm a huge fan of Sci-Fi. I'm a huge fan of all this cast, actually. But I do think Patterson and Naomi Ackie really stole the show, and I apologize if I'm butchering her name. But overall, I would still recommend you see this movie in theater if you can. It does have very cool visuals. It is a little CGI-ish, especially with the alien side of things. There are moments when you can tell it's very CGI, but it was still kind of cool to see on the big screen, getting to see, Mickey Barnes. Apparently, this was based on a book called Mickey 7, which I've never read, never even heard of it. So that's interesting. I'd be curious to know what the differences between the movie and the book. One, of course, is that I guess in the book it was Mickey number 7, whereas the movie is Mickey 17 and whatnot. But so I really like the concept, and I love the idea of what they were trying to do, but that second half of this movie just took me out of it way too much. But anyways, folks, that's my review of Mickey 17. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen it, and if you'd like to tell me why or why not. If you like this video, click that subscribe button and that like button, and don't forget to comment and have a conversation with me. Special thank you to a few new subscribers that we have, so thank you so much. We also got a couple new followers on Spotify. Thank you so much for all that good stuff, and until the next video, take care.